Okay, let's talk about some rookies. We've got the regular season tomorrow, so that's cool. But of course, now we're going off of the preseason. I am going to have a few clips in the video, not just me over pictures. Hopefully it's not awkward. Let's start with Paulo. I'm not going to be able to get to every single rookie, but I think I'm able to cover quite a few here. So the most interesting thing with Paulo to me in the preseason is his place in the Magic offense, because they've been leaning more on Franz as a lead ball handler. And also, they've been having Wendell do his Bam impression a bit, with making plays for guys like on the elbows and allowing guys to cut and run handoff actions. And Paulo has been the recipient of a few of those. He had one play against the Grizzlies, second time they played the Grizzlies, where Wendell was at the elbow and Paulo was on the opposite corner, and Paulo cut, and he had a really good post position on Dylan Brooks, and then Wendell threw this great entry pass that only Paulo could get, and then he got a foul out of that one. He's had times where he's cut at pretty much the same time that Franz and Wendell will run an action with each other, like Wendell just screening for Franz. And the fear there is that it kills the spacing, but a lot of the time it hasn't. Like, Paulo's just been able to get good looks at the rim out of it. He has still had moments where he's been able to cook a little bit. Like, there was that one clip where he took JaVale off the dribble and busted out this really, really nice up and under move on him. He had a hook shot over Dorian Finney-Smith in that same game. He's had some possessions where he's bailed them out with a tough mid-ranger or whatever. So I would love to have a lot to say about Jabari, but he just hasn't really played because he had an ankle injury. So what I said in the last video was the same thing I would say here. When he's in an actual offense and not a summer league offense, it just looks way better. Because, of course, he's a knockdown shooter, and as far as creating his own stuff, that's going to be a little more of a process for him. Now let's get to Keegan Murray. So the impressive thing to me with Keegan that I've noticed recently is how good he is at relocating off the ball. It's not even them running specific sets for him. It'll be like somebody begins their drive, and he'll just go from the wing and slide down to the corner. It sounds simple, but I think it matters. And as far as his defense, so Keegan, I think he's already a very willing help defender. And sometimes he might be a little too aggressive in helping from the corner, but I think there was also this play in the Blazers game. It was one of his block shots where the Kings trapped Dame up top, and then Keegan slid over from the corner, and then he was able to block his guy who was cutting from behind him. Let's get to Jaden Ivey. So if you were going to look at his percentages this preseason, you'd be like, ooh, it's not going as well as it could be. But if you dive into some of the plays, look, he pulls off some wild plays sometimes. Like, there was a play against the Grizzlies where they were hedging, and there was a little window that was there that very few guys are going to be able to hit, but somebody like Ivy, with as fast of a first step as he has, was able to hit it, and then he got a dunk out of it. And then in that same game, he had a play where very early in a possession, he went baseline, and there were basically 3 Grizzlies at the basket waiting for him, and he just kind of went up there. And now if he becomes a master at drawing fouls in those type of situations, then that can be a real weapon for him. There was a play against the Thunder where he got a double screen from Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, and he got the defender on his back, and he kept his dribble super low, and then at the last second, he explodes up for this left-handed layup that I think for most guys would have resulted in them probably getting their shot blocked. And then, of course, he has the moments where if he gets the ball in transition, he's just gone, pretty much. But, he also has forced up, I would say, a few awkward-looking shots around the rim. Like, sometimes it's an acrobatic finish, and sometimes it's like you might have just bit off more than you can really chew on that one, Ivy. He also has had a tough time with the 3-ball. I think Jaden Ivey right now looks like a normal speed demon rookie. Now let's get to Benedict Mathurin, who is out here to score at the basket. I mean, he had a 3-point play where he had it in transition, and RJ had pretty good position, and Mathurin just kind of didn't care that he was there. There was one where Hartenstein was right in front of the rim on him, and Mathurin just went into him as physical as he can, got a 3-point play out of it. I think right now Mathurin is more so in the, run a handoff action to get him some momentum going downhill, as opposed to just let him cook up top with a simple screen play, which is fine because he's got Halliburton to run more of those types of stuff. As for his 3-ball, so he has not been making them much in the preseason. In college, he shot 38% on 316 3-point attempts in 2 years. He shot almost 80% on about 250 free throw attempts. I'm choosing to not be concerned about his 3-point percentage in the preseason. Now let's get to Jeremy Sohan. On offense, he's more so a connector right now. He had this one play against the Jazz where Trey Jones got a screen from Pirtle up top. Sohan was spotting up in the corner. Jones kicks it to Sohan. He takes like 2 dribbles towards the free throw line, kicks it to Bates Diop in the other corner, and then Bates Diop kicks it to Devin Vassell for a top of the key. Decently open 3 that he did not make, but if he would have made it, Sohan would not have gotten the assist, but he was a big reason why that shot happened in the first place. He also had this little play where he threw it to Pirtle at the elbow, and then he set a down screen for Vassell, who was able to get an open shot off of that. It's little things like that right now for Sohan. As far as scoring, it's pretty much cuts to the basket, maybe a line drive dribble off of a catch, offensive rebounds, that sort of stuff. The 3 ball, we'll see. He's got to get that figured out. And then defensively, I think there is a lot to be excited about with him. He's had moments guarding Zion, and he didn't get bulldozed over. He's guarded Markkanen in the post. There was one play against the Jazz where he switched onto Colin Sexton, and Sexton actually got around the screen pretty fast, so Sohan had to catch up with him, and once he got there, he basically just formed a wall that Sexton was not going to be able to get past. He forced like an awkward layup out of him. Next up, we go to Shaedon Sharpe. So there is a chance that Sharpe got his shots up a little bit because it's the preseason, and once the actual game starts, he's not going to play as much. But his shot selection so far, it's got me a little nervous. There's definitely some contested shots in there, some pull-ups, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. However, when he's got something going to the rim, he looks good because his verticality is wild. So for what that's worth right now, we'll see. Again, I don't know how much he's going to be playing like that. Let's get to Jalen Williams for the Thunder, who has been a bit of a shot creator so far, whether it's for himself or other guys. He does move at his own pace. He's got that lulling the defender to sleep thing where he'll hit you with a couple of size-up moves, and then you relax for a second, and then he'll just go burst off the dribble. And yeah, it's not super fast, but he's got the handle. He's a big guy, so if he's got the angle on you, it is tough for you at that point because, then his shoulder or whatever is into you, and then you're just kind of screwed as he's going to the basket. And I've seen him make quick decisions when he's been trapped on the ball. I have not seen every single possession the guy has had, but from what I've seen, I've been decently impressed. He seems like somebody you can run some offense through. I mean, we'll see when the games count, but you've got to be intrigued so far by him. And lastly, we're going to get to Tari Eason with the Rockets. He attacks the offensive glass like a madman. He can switch on defense. Scouts were already intrigued by his line drive slashing potential, even if you're not going to run a million pick and rolls with him or whatever. And his catch and shoot 3 has been good in preseason so far. He has not taken a whole lot, but he is showing signs of someone who may be able to contribute right away. And because the Rockets are a young team, I would expect that he gets a decent amount of minutes.